Let's turn back to the broader market, shall we? Stocks ending higher across the board. The NASDAQ 100 adding another 1.4% to its coffers today. It is now up a stunning 31% this year. But if you think the big names may be getting big time played out, this one is for you, because your next guest is still finding big opportunity in smaller caps. Bring in Chris Harvey of Wells Fargo Securities. Chris, good to have you back on. Listen, I'm going to give credit where credit is due. You know, earlier this summer, you called for a 10% rise in the overall market. It happened. A lot of people thought you were nuts. It worked out for you and your clients, so congratulations on that. Are you shifting that call for the broader markets to the smaller names?
Yeah, that's right. So our price target is 33.88. We're sitting right on top of that. And for us, we're not ready to leave the party just yet. So now it's about rotation. We're looking for areas where we can grab cyclicality, get more COVID beta. And when we talk about COVID beta, it's stocks or issues that do better when COVID comes down. And the last thing we want easy comps in the first half of next year. You can find all that in small caps. And so we're starting to rotate the portfolio away from our uber cap bet that we've had for the last year, 2 years. And it's a walk, not run type situation, but we want to rotate. We want to get more cyclicality in the portfolio, and we want to do it in a slow and methodical fashion, because ultimately we think in 12 months, or at least in 12 months, we're going to be in a much better place with regard to the economy.
Well, I was going to say this is a pure economic call, is it not? Because the large cap stocks, they're in ETFs, they can get bought. There's a Fed aspect to it. We get it. Smaller cap stocks largely rely entirely on the American economy. So the American economy goes in the tank again. I would imagine you got to revisit this call.
Well, if the U.S. economy goes in the tank again, I think we have to revisit almost everything. Okay, it's not as if growth is really going to outperform in that environment. Everything is going to get beaten up. And what we think is we have a handle on COVID. Can it get worse? Absolutely can get worse. But I think every day we get one day closer to a vaccination. In addition to that, where we want to go is, again, we want to go to the easy comps. We want to go to the places where numbers were slashed at the beginning of this year. And you don't need much of an economy or an economic improvement to see upward revision. And that's right across your small caps. That's across your cyclicals. That's in your places that haven't been picked over just yet, more your contrarian plays.
So it's Steve Grasso. So I have a question for you. I think you're spot on because I agree with you. So unfortunately, I am biased to this. How much of this do you think the rotation has been put off when you look at the Apple split and the Tesla split? It seems like everyone is rushing back into growth again, and it put off that value rotation, and it truly is a walk, not a run.
Right. And Steve, I think you're right. And you've been around, we've both been around for a while. And we've seen these kind of more excessive tops where frost starts to come in the marketplace and what's working continues to work. But that's not a good value. And again, if we're looking ahead 6 to 12 months, we want to go where the market's going to go. And the market eventually is going to start rotating to economically sensitive names. It's going to want to start to price up things that have really easy comps in the first half of next year. Yeah, for the meantime, we're seeing the Uber caps work today, last couple of days. That's great. But if you look at small caps in the second half of this year, they're more or less trading in line with the S&P 500. And that's a positive sign. Mm-hmm. Granted, we still have a little bit of rock to work ourselves through.
We're going to leave it there. Chris Harvey, Wells Fargo Securities, making the call on small caps. Congrats on being right on the big macro call as well at the beginning of the summer, Chris. Welcome you back on anytime. Thank you very much, buddy. All right, so Tim, the small caps, Russell 2000, small cap 600, they ended down today, but they're up 16% over the last 90 days and outperforming the S&P 500. Do you agree or like Chris's call?
Well, Chris's call, he used the term COVID beta. When I think COVID beta, I think ultimately, though, the momentum and essentially, the move in stocks that goes along with an economy that is struggling under the weight of COVID. I think, if anything, we have had this reopening trade. We have seen some companies and some cyclicals, industrials, have a pretty good run. I actually believe in some parts of the resources and materials trades. We talk about housing all the time. Big cap tech, to me, is still going to outperform if we have COVID beta. And ultimately, that's a case where if you look at it, we've had these rotation moments in the market for the last 2 months. But since August 1st, supposedly big cap tech was dead. But the triple Qs, if you're playing them on an ETF or the Nasdaq 100, has outperformed the S&P by 3.5 percentage points in the last 20 days, or 15 market days. So I think you have to be careful to say it's time to rotate out of tech, because right now it will continue to be defensive, and these companies that we complain are most of the, not only the performance but the earnings of the S&P, are most of the earnings of the S&P. Why would you run away?